Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Pulaski County Fiscal Court. Certainly glad to see everyone here. We've got some business to take care of today and for the court and the county. Appreciate everyone coming. As usual, we will do a 30-second moment of silence to remember needs in the county and the community. And I've asked Stacy Holcomb to lead us in the pledge here after the moment of silence. But anyone have any prior concerns, any concerns that we need to think about? I know EMS workers and the family at Wayne County or Clinton County that passed away a week ago. The funeral was over the weekend, so remember that family in prayer. They're having a terrible time right now, along with our county EMS workers. We were well represented at the funeral, had lots of EMS workers there. I think every member of the EMS community was there from the county, along with several other counties, so it was well attended and well represented. So appreciate all the things that are being done for that situation. Do we have any other concerns? If not, everyone bow your head and observe 30 seconds of silence. Thank you. Everyone, please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item of business will be to approve the minutes of the 26th fiscal court meeting. If you've had time to review them, take a second to review them and see any changes or comments on those, and I will need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Ranshaw makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. First item of new business would be permission to hold yearly bid. I'm going to ask Chloe to come forward to present that. It's that time of the year when we're starting to bid all our services for the next fiscal year.
Good morning. It's that time. I need permission with the court's permission to accept sealed bids for tires, road tile, silt fence, road fabric, concrete, lubricants, gasoline, diesel, sign supplies, rock asphalt, coal mix, tack oil, professional contractor services, etc., and janitorial / cleaning of the Pulaski County Judicial Center.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Renshaw makes a motion and Mr. Wielden seconds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you all.
Motion passes. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Jim Parsons and Matt Ford, the developer. I think if they both want to present, we're talking about the industrial revenue bonds that have been moving forward with some stuff on some development that Mr. Ford is doing on just east of town.
We'll make it all work.
It'll work.
Y'all have to do it. So thank you for letting us come and discuss the project with you all this morning. I've got a lot of questions. A lot of people have asked what's going on and what's happening there. There's been a lot of work. I've been working on this for about 7 years now. leased this from the Ledford family, and then in 2020, since 2020, I've been working with the state to get a couple entrances. Finally got that approved, and we're ready to move forward with hopefully something that everybody in the county will like. It's sort of the entrance to Somerset. It's the gateway to Lake Cumberland. One nice thing about this project, in order to come to Lake Cumberland, you have to pass this intersection, whether you're going to Lee's Ford, or you're going to Russell Springs, or you're going to Monticello. This piece of property is at an intersection that should catch a whole lot of traffic, and hopefully we can bring a whole lot of things that seems like the community really wants, such as maybe a grocery store and some more sit-down restaurants, maybe some more fast food. Also some residential units there in the back is mixed use, is something that we are looking at doing. And so we're excited about that project. I'm sure you all have heard a lot about that project, and we appreciate you letting us come and talk to you about that. It is a lot of risk that we take on with this. I can't just write a check for this. Thankfully, I've got a partner that he's done rather well, and he's fronting the money to develop this. Some people have asked, well, where are you getting this money from? But Dr. Patrick Heist has, I've convinced him that Somerset is the place to invest his money, and he is excited about doing that. He's originally from Albany. He went to Somerset Community College before he went on to UK and earned his doctorate, and then he sold out a large business over in Danville, where he currently lives. And granted, I've sold him on Somerset and Pulaski County, and I think it's a great thing that he's willing to invest here. And Mr. Parsons, met with him, and he's got some the IRB. I don't want to go into explaining all that because I might mess it up, but he is the expert on that. And I know you all will have plenty of questions. I had plenty of questions before I would agree to anything. I was like, I don't want the county, the city to have risk. I wanted to make sure it's a win-win for everybody, and I think what Mr. Parsons is going to talk to you about is definitely a win-win for everybody. We can grow the community with no risk to you all. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Parsons.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I'm Jim Parsons with the law firm McKinney, Muthen and Kleekamp, and I've done economic development work across the state on a number of projects. Sometimes I'm representing the local government who's trying to attract development, and sometimes I'm representing the developer who's, trying to put a project together. I've done some work actually in Somerset before. I've done some work on some of the downtown TIF work the city has done. I've actually worked on the IRB structure when it ever issues for the Horse Soldier Farms project and things that the county's a part of too. That would be also under an IRB structure relative to that. Let me explain a little bit about what industrial revenue bonds are. And last evening, the city of Somerset agreed to issue industrial revenue bonds for this project when the developer is ready to move forward. So in that case, the city would be the actual issuer of the bonds we're talking about. But industrial revenue bonds under Chapter 103 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes are basically bonds that can be issued for private development projects. It's not regular general obligation debt like the county would issue or the city would issue for a true public project. The bonds that are issued are the responsibility of the developer or the investors in the project, and not the local government. So in this case, the city of Somerset will be the issuer of the bonds, but they will have absolutely no responsibility whatsoever for any payment at all. In fact, there's no risk to them at all. When I presented to City Council a few weeks ago, and then last night, I referenced the fact that you might have heard about the big Ford battery plant that's being built in Hardin County, Kentucky. In that one, the county is the issuer of the industrial revenue bonds for that project, and they issued about $5.5 billion of bonds for that project. Again, it doesn't account against any debt limitations. It's not the debt of the local government, and so in that case, this is a very common a development incentive program that could be available to promote development. And all states have different variations of this type of program relative to this. The benefit of the Industrial Revenue Bond Program is that it does, if it's done in a particular way, it creates an exemption of local real estate taxes. And then there's usually, as corresponding with the issuance of the bonds, there's an agreement in lieu of taxes to pay a certain amount in lieu of taxes back to the local governments during the term of the bonds. In this case, what we're asking for is that that we baseline the 2023 value, and that all the local districts will get 100% of the value based upon that, and then 50% of the increased value over the life of the bonds. That number will go up as the values go up and things. Even though it would show as exempt under the PVA's records, the PVA is still required to value that property, and as the PVA values it, every year, whatever your rates are times the actual value set by the PVA, and will be, and you get an annual tax payment. It will be issued from the city, because the city as the issuer will be the collector of that, but you would be getting a pilot tax bill on this particular situation. I gave you a little information about the project. It's about a 120-acre site. The current project is valued at about $341,800 from the 2023 value assessment, and I gave you how much. Right now you're getting $150 or so in taxes from that particular site. If the project goes forward, and we're estimating the potential full development of a $95 million, that you would get a significantly more revenue to the county, even subject to the pilot agreement. The other thing is I want to make clear is that the tax that we're talking about having some exemption for is only the real estate tax. The 100% of the occupational taxes, 100% of the tangible taxes the project would generate, that would not be subject to any incentive, so you would get 100% of that revenue stream, plus to the extent there's any other revenues or fees the county might normally get from a development. I'm not totally familiar with how all your taxes are here, but to the extent there actually could even be deed-transfer taxes, things like that, you get all 100% of those type of values relative to that. Again, the bonds are not the debt of the local government. In fact, the bonds would be purchased normally by either the developer or by an investor in the project for the term of the bonds. And I'll be glad to answer questions. I just closed on a project almost identical to this in Cold Spring, Kentucky, a commercial development project where we use this particular tool. I'm working on a project in Danville, almost identical to this, where the city has agreed to be the issuer of those bonds. We're doing projects all over the state in that area. I'm from Northern Kentucky, and they're very commonly done. I will tell you that there are three, I do need to, the critical approvals on this would be the city, county, and school district. This particular, assuming the county and the school district and city are on board, the city's already on board, then there's another level of approval that's required. You'll be familiar with it, because counties have to, when you're issuing your regular debt, you have to get approval of the state local debt officer. There's a similar provision similar to that for IRBs, and it's really just set up to be sure that the city, county, and school district have signed off on the terms of the pilot agreement. So it's a pretty quick process, but there is another approval. That's why we won't go forward on this unless the city, county, and school district, in particular school district, signs off on the pilot agreement. I'm meeting with the school district next Tuesday evening on that, but I'll be glad to answer questions for you how this works. Again, the only involvement the county would have is you would not be the issuer. You would have no involvement with the actual issuance of the bonds. You would simply just be a party to the agreement in lieu of taxes that would agree to pay you a certain amount in lieu of taxes during the term of the bonds.
Any questions?
Yeah, since I got this information a few weeks ago, I've been doing a lot of research on it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a great program, but I just want to clarify for the community
Yeah.
that this actually would not hurt any taxpayer in the community, whether that's a city resident or a county resident. It doesn't affect them or the ability for any government entity to borrow.
It does not affect it would not show up as the city's debt, so it doesn't go against debt capacity at all. In fact, I don't think it's in this particular document, but it's in the inducement resolution. It may very well be in this one also, that talks about the fact that these bonds are not the debt of in fact, that's real bold. In fact, we're required on the bond itself that's issued, and also in the actual authorizing documents, we're required to say in bold that this is not the debt of the local government, and it's not and in fact, it's not only by the ordinance, the order that will be adopted, it's actually in the statute, in the IRB statute, it specifically says that these type of bonds are not the debt. So the city would actually, technically, it would show up on their financial statements as the fact that they issued the bonds, but it's not the debt of the city. So the auditor would just want to know, the fact that the bonds were issued, how much are outstanding, but it does not show up as the debt. It doesn't go against debt capacity. I know the county and the city each have limits on how much debt they can take based upon their total assessed valuation. But again, that doesn't even count against that at all.
But the one thing I do is go back and research, and I went back line by line on this and read the KRS on it, read everything I possibly could. Actually tried to find an issue with it. I tried to find an issue where it did hurt the county and city, and after 30 hours of research, I couldn't find a single issue where it did hurt any government entity. So, and actually, it does benefit the county, benefits the city and development. But like you said, underneath the current tax plan we got right now, we receive $150 in property.
Yeah, no occupational taxes because it's
Yeah. No personal property taxes involved in this. Everything else we would get, but as the project grows, we would still get 50% of what would have been the tax revenue.
That's right.
As it grows.
That is correct.
Now, a question I have is, if you sell off part of this property for real estate purposes or anything like that, at that point, does it go back to 100%, or does that property owner who build a house or build an apartment building, are they still getting the 50% reduction in taxes over the whole 30 years, or is that just an agreement with Matt Ford?
No, if the property, what happens on this one, and if I get too deep in the weeds, please stop me, but what happens on this particular situation is that the title of the property, once the bonds close, will be transferred to the city. The city then will give a lease back to the development. Then the developer in this case can subdivide the property, sell it off to third parties. Those third parties are required to pay 100% of what they would normally pay. There's going to be so the third parties don't get the benefit. The reason we're doing it that way is because that net benefit, the net pilot taxes that are generated, ultimately would go to cover costs of development of the site. And so during the term of the bonds, third parties will be required to pay 100% of what they would normally pay. And so what happens is that that's collected by the city like a regular tax bill. City collects it. The city then pays itself, pays the other taxing districts in the county, and then the net amount of that's left over is actually paid back to a bond trustee, who will then utilize those to cover costs associated with the project. The other thing that's a little bit different on this one because we're doing the structure a little bit differently to provide that net revenue stream, that pilot obligation is actually going to be a recorded obligation against the property. So what I mean by that is there will be a pilot mortgage that sometimes pilots are just contractual obligations where the property owner agrees to make payments in lieu of taxes. That's included here, but in this case, there's actually that's going to be secured. So just like your taxes are normally priority claims against the property and they're always paid before anything else happens, the pilot taxes would be paid before any other mortgage goes on the property.
So are you saying that the taxes that are going to be collected is going to go to the city, like an escrow to the city, and then the city's actually going to pay the county
That's
for their
correct.
portion?
That's right.
So it won't be something the county will be billing for?
No, the county won't be billing for. Now, to the extent that you have some counties, like I don't know if you bill any user fees on your regular tax bill or not. Some counties, like in northern Kentucky, it's pretty common, they bill for dispatch on the county tax bill. So in that case, if you would bill regular user fees, you would still bill those. You wouldn't bill regular real estate taxes, but no, the city would collect the taxes. They would then remit, keep their share, remit to the taxing districts, and the balance then would go to a bond trustee.
And that would just be for the property tax
That is
portion.
just for the
As far
property
as
tax.
personal property and all that, the county
Personal
would still-
property would be the regular process.
Process,
The
but just
businesses
the-
within the district would self-report to the state and the PVA, and then the PVA would basically prepare, or county clerk or whoever would prepare those tangible bills in accordance with their normal process.
Now, over time, I know we got it's set 100% at the current value. But over time, the PBA will be evaluating that property,
correct.
and that value of that property will go up.
That is correct.
And then at that point, we'll start getting 50% of that increase.
Yeah, actually, say we closed this year. Now, just assume and I'm not sure, depending on timing, it might take longer, but whenever we close, the year of transfer, the local governments would get regular taxes. Because you usually, unless the transfer occurs at January 1, that year you'll have regular taxes generated. But the next year, whatever the value is of that property would be a pilot amount. And then as the project is built through construction in progress or whatever, the values would start increasing over time. And then annually, your pilot taxes should go up based upon the increased value of the property.
And then, as far as state agencies, there were 3 state agencies that have to approve this deal?
Oh, just one. It's a
Okay,
state
I
local
thought
debt officer.
I thought I seen there were 3, it has to go through 3 state agencies.
No, there's only one. There is a process that is in place for, if this was a true industrial project, like a manufacturer or something, there's another process where we could apply to the Economic Development Cabinet to get a reduction in the state rate. This project won't qualify for that. So
Okay.
we won't be applying to the Economic Development Cabinet because they primarily only give incentives, if you're familiar with their incentive programs. Their incentive programs are for basically industrial projects, manufacturing, office developments, things like that. So we won't be applying to the Economic Development Cabinet for that
Will
incentive.
you all be applying for tourism incentives?
No, because this isn't a tourism project. I do a lot of tourism work on that, but this particular project would not qualify for the refund of the state taxes on that.
So with this program, it is a requirement that the county and the school system has to come on board
Yeah.
to help it out.
It isn't a complete requirement, but when you go to the state hearing, the first thing the hearing officer asks is, where is the agreement, either letter of support from the county, school, and city, or where's the pilot agreement that all of them sign? So in that case, it could technically be approved without your approval, but it would be, it'd be very difficult to get that done. So, because the whole purpose of that state hearing is set up that primarily it's set up to protect the school district, but the state hearing officer wants to be sure those 3 entities are on board.
But even though it requires the county and school system, it does the other entities like extension, library, do they still get the benefit of the 50%?
They do.
Okay.
So they're protected in this agreement and stuff. So they're fully protected the same way. So, It just has to do with the fact that at the state level, what they're really interested in is the county, school district, and city.
So in short, basically, the only thing this concerns the county court, this court here, is just us saying, yes, we're okay with this project, and in doing that, we're gonna get, as the project grows, we're gonna still get 50%. But if we didn't do this, then we could have ended up with nothing.
That's correct, so.
Okay. Any other comments?
I just say, Matt, where's Matt? Okay. I think you got a great idea here. It's just, I hope it works out for you.
Have you all, I know Mark has, he's got his all marked up. You guys have all reviewed the agreement in lieu of taxes. I think that's the same agreement that the city approved last night. So the judge just needs to call for a vote from fiscal court on approval of this agreement.
I need a motion for approval of the agreement.
Motion.
Mr. Renshaw makes that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Strunk makes the second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very
Thank you
much. I
very
really
much.
appreciate it.
Jim, who has this original?
I will be, once I get the school district.
You'll be
and they approve
circulating
I'll
it?
circulate an execution copy. for
All right,
everyone.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item of business would be the library board appointments. Ms. Charlotte Keeney.
Morning.
Good morning.
I have two appointees that I need appointed. They officially start April the 11th. One is for Donna McFall. She has expired. She has served an unexpired term in her 2 terms. So I would like to recommend that Fonda Wilson Crawford be put in her place. Do you want to do these one at a time?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to appoint Fonda Wilson Crawford as the new library board appointee?
Motion.
Mr. Turpin makes a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Wheeldon seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, the next one is Jerry Claunch. He has served 1 4-year term, so he is eligible for another 4-year term. And I would like, if the court approves, to reappoint him for that 4-year term.
I need a motion to reappoint Mr. Jerry Claunch to the library board.
Motion.
Mr. Turpin makes that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Renshaw seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Matt, you want to come up and get your, you might not want to sit through the rest of the meeting. You're welcome to, I guess, but. Matt.
Department reports, permission to advertise a job opening in fleet maintenance. Mr. Frank?
Morning.
Good morning.
I just need to ask permission to advertise a job opening.
All right.
Motion.
Mr. Renshaw makes the motion to advertise a job opening. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. Any discussion? What is the job opening?
It'll be diesel mechanic.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Road Department, they got 3,000 ton of rock. Need a motion for that.
Motion.
Mr. Wilson makes the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Wheeldon, second? Did you second? Do I have a second?
I'll say.
Mr. Wheeldon, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Road list is in front of you. Do we have any additions, changes to the road list?
Motion.
Mr. Wilson makes a motion to accept the road list.
Second.
Mr. Renshaw seconds. Any discussion?
I would note that there are some stop signs, speed limit signs being added to Nelson Valley Road. That's not doesn't require a separate vote because the speed limit's already set, but just signs are being, a couple speed limit signs are being added.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to finance. Ms. Grissom.
I need approval for the April bill list.
Motion.
Mr. Renshaw makes a motion to accept bill list.
Second.
Second by Mr. Turpin. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I also have March's bank reconciliations that I need approval for.
Motion.
Mr. Renshaw makes the motion for bank statement.
Second.
Mr. Wheeldon seconds. All in favor, say aye.
No.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I believe that concludes our business section. Do we have any citizens' comments today? Approach the podium, please.
My name is Dan Gibson. Something happened to me a week or so ago, and I've lost a lot of sleep about whether I should mention it to the court or bring it to the public's attention, but after a lot of consideration, I've decided that I must. I own a piece of property, a rental property, and the tenants moved out, and I was repairing the property, getting it ready for the next tenant. And I came there one morning at 9 o'clock, and my complete yard was full of Spanish-speaking Americans, and the whole yard, front, back, all 15 or 20 people. Now, what I'm telling you is from my memory. I'm an elderly gentleman, and my memory is not absolutely perfect, but the deputy that was there later had a camera, shoulder camera, which should make clear what I'm bringing to your attention. I asked them what they were doing there, and they said, we're having a meeting. And I said, who are you? They wouldn't say. They spoke Spanish. I said, why won't you tell me why you're here other than you're having a meeting? You didn't ask me if you could have a meeting on this property, and therefore, you shouldn't be here. Why are you here? We're having a meeting, they said. I said, well, then you don't have permission to be here, and therefore you're trespassing. You should leave. I want you to leave now. When I said that, they gathered around me, and I was very threatened and felt in fear for my life. And so I eased out of the encirclement that I was in and went to the back of the building and called 911 and asked them to send someone to help me. They sent someone, a deputy. When he got there, he told me that his camera was on and operating properly on his shoulder. He asked them to leave. They didn't leave. This was going on for hours. I asked them again to leave. They would not leave. And so I told the deputy, I said, you are witnessing this crime because they are clearly trespassing. I would like for you to arrest them. He said, I can't. And I said, why not? They're obviously breaking the law. And if I break the law, I'm prosecuted for that. Why won't you do anything about these Spanish-speaking Americans? Until this point, none of them had spoken any English. One of them finally did at that point, spoke up and says, I speak English, and I heard everything that went on. And I said, well, then you know that I asked you to leave. Why aren't you gone? He still didn't leave. The deputy asked him again to leave. He said, leave, you're on private property, this man owns this property, he's asked you to leave, you're trespassing. They wouldn't leave, and I said, arrest them, please arrest them, they're trespassing on my property. He said, I can't. And I said, why not? He said, because ICE has told us that we can't. Now, if this is true, then private property laws no longer exist in this country. And Pulaski County, who would think it would come to Pulaski County? But this happened to me, verifiable in every way, and if it can happen to me, it can happen to any one of you. They can come and take your property, trespass on it, sit on it, gain possession of it by adverse possession, And I just feel like that the public needs to know this, and that the court needs to know this is going on in our county. I have a couple of questions. Is this true that ICE says that they can't arrest these Spanish-speaking gentlemen? The reason I say Spanish-speaking is because I don't know where they're from, what country they're from. I can't say they're Mexican or Salvadoran or U.S. citizens. I can't say because they spoke Spanish. That's all I can say because I don't understand Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. But if it's true that they're not held to the law as citizens of this country are, then where are we? Where are our property rights? Do we actually own any property anymore if they can come in and just take over and not be prosecuted for it? Anyway, I thought I would bring this to your attention, and I'd like to answer to those questions from someone. Is this true that they can't enforce our property rights or won't because they're afraid of the federal government? And that's going on. And also I would like to know if anything like this has happened to anyone else in this county. Has this type of thing happened to, have they broken the law and not been prosecuted for anything else in this county? Now, I've been told several other things about this group that may or may not be true since this has happened. And if it is true, we definitely need to do something. But if it's not, then what they did on my trespass incident is clear enough that they should have been arrested. If we're going to go by the law, this was as clear a case of trespass as there ever was one. There was no reason for them to be there. They weren't chased there by any wild animal. There's no reason for them to be there. And yet they were there, ignoring me when I asked them to leave. I've been told that that particular group is bringing drugs to our county. I'd like the answer to that too. Is this true or not? Somebody needs to answer these things to the public so the public can know what's going on in our county. Are these, I don't know if they're illegal. I call them Spanish-speaking gentlemen because I don't know if they're illegal or not. I don't know what country they're from because they won't tell me. They wouldn't tell me. I asked them. They wouldn't tell me where they were from. They wouldn't say whether they had papers or what. They wouldn't speak English. And so I would like that attention brought to this issue so everybody will know this is going on in our county.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Oh, I wish you would.
When did this happen?
A week or so ago.
Just recently? Okay.
A week or so ago.
Okay.
It'll be of record in the sheriff's office. They have a video, shoulder camera video of this complete incident.
Have you?
If I've forgotten anything or gotten anything in the least wrong, it'll be verified by this camera, this video.
Have you already spoken to the sheriff about this directly?
Well, the deputy was right there.
No, I'm saying, I'm just asking so I know.
Okay.
Have you talked to the sheriff?
There was a gentleman that worked for me, that's working for me, and he is a reformed drug-taking individual. I'm trying to help him come back. He went to rehab, and he's acting like a responsible citizen, in my view, now. He don't take drugs. He works every day, works hard. He's trying to do better. He said that he knows for a fact that this group is involved in drugs. And he told the deputy names while the deputy was there, and that's also on the camera. So I can't verify any of that, but names were told to the deputy, so they are aware. This video is clear. Any other questions?
Did you already apply to get a copy of this video, or?
I have not. I thought I'd bring it to your attention first.
And
You
then,
are our elected officials.
Yeah.
You can look into this as you wish, and I wish you would.
But that's why I'm asking you these questions.
Yes.
So you haven't talked to the sheriffs. Have you talked to Martin about this issue? Or,
I think I made it clear that this is my first
Okay.
bringing attention to
Okay.
this issue. When I came up here, I said I slept on it, and I finally decided that I must do this for the good of all the people of Pulaski County. If this is true, that Spanish-speaking people can come in and take your or my property as they see fit,
I own
with no
property and it
consequence
doesn't
under the
sound.
law,
Yeah, I
then
own-
we're in big trouble.
I think everybody in here owns property, and if that's an issue, it's a big issue for the whole state, let alone
That's
the
why I brought
county.
it to your attention.
So I don't want 20 people sitting in my front yard.
Please look into it.
So,
Thank you very much.
all righty.
Any other citizens' comments? See you.
It seems to be a reoccurring theme here is what I'm getting from these meetings, and it's the same every city, every town, every state. It's almost like the government is in business for themselves. It's what can we do to make ourselves money? I've lived here a long time, longer than most of the people in this room probably. And these people want to come in here and they grow everything. Well, there's a cost to that. Increased traffic and other things I could go on about, but I'm not going to go there. I'd like to see it backed off a little bit. I'd like to see the government start acting a little bit responsible instead of like a teenager with a never-ending credit card. I don't particularly want this growth because it's close to my home and it's going to be more traffic and more hassle for me. And I mean, it just goes on and on. When does it stop? What's it about? It's all about the money. Can we get a hold of that? That's what I'd like to express. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? Please state your name. I failed to get the,
My name is Donald Cooper. We're getting this project that's going to create more sewage, more runoff. The city sewage has got multiple violations, and I don't know whether they've been took care of or not. So is the county, they are polluting our lake, which we have had a very, very serious in the past. So are they going to fix this sewage enough that it won't pollute the lake? That's what I'm worried about. Okay? Thank you very much.
thank you. The previous gentleman that spoke, could I have your name?
James Gibson.
James Gibson. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, it's not on the agenda. We're going to go into executive session to discuss personnel. Martin, or
I believe that involves, dismissal or discipline of employee pursuant to KRS 61810 subsection 1F. So you need a motion and a second and a vote.
I need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Mr. Wilson makes that motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Strunk? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will be in executive session for a short bit. If you're welcome to stay, and we will be back out shortly. Executive session.
Motion.
Mr. Wilson makes the motion. Do I have a second to come out? Mr. Whildon seconds. We're back in regular session now. I do want to announce that we took some action in executive session, that we transferred a county employee to solid waste for a stop arm violation on a school bus, and he will be there until we're still under investigation, so till the investigation is complete, he'll be working at the recycle.
Actually, but you'd already done that, you just wanted to inform the court.
I just wanted, it's been done for a week or thereabouts, but I wanted to inform the court and the public that this person has been taken out of a dump truck and is now at solid waste.
And from the county attorney's office standpoint, it's an ongoing criminal investigation, so we can't comment on any further on it, and I've asked the court to honor that as well and allow the investigation to conclude itself.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Mr. Wilson motions and Mr. Whildon seconds. Stand adjourned.